With little chance of getting any education or jobs, young people in Kenya are easy prey for terrorist recruiters from the Al-Shabab and ISIS. Radicalization of youth and their recruitment for violent and illegal activities is not new to Kenya. Criminal gangs, ethnic sects and local militia have been undertaking such recruitment for years. However, in recent years, youth radicalization has become even more threatening on account of the increased terrorist activities in the counties. Terror activities in the county have not only led to loss of lives, personal suffering and pain, but also in growing instability and a heightened sense of insecurity. This trend has further been evident in the remote areas as counties such as Wajir, Garissa and Mandera have reported such cases. Young people have fallen prey of being targeted by extremist organizations and are very vulnerable to their offers. Regardless of their religious affiliation or ethnic background, Al-Shabaab or the ISIS recruiters have often approached boys and young men living mostly in the remote areas. These young people are attracted to the promise of money and material reward. Others believe in the jihadist ideology. Some have lost faith in dysfunctional politics, while others look for adventure. Youngsters with little hope of education and good jobs are particularly easy prey. Similarly, in Wajir County, recruitment has been active, with cases of new recruits having already included girls, children from wealthy families, and university students. Good evening and thank you for joining us. We are live here at the Midpoint Hotel in Wajir. We're discussing issues which are affecting the society in many ways, and today we are tackling the issue of the youth radicalization which has been rampant here in Wajir County and as well as the larger northern Kenya. We have got a lot of panelists here today, and on my right is Ruben Ongeda, who is the Assistant County Commissioner here Wajir, standing up for the County Commissioner. On my right, still going on, is Aden Mohammed Noor, who is from the Youth for Peace, as well as Secretary General for the Football Kenya Federation, rather. Welcome to the show. Also, we have Dr. Abdulaziz Osman, who is IRE and Arabic teacher at Wajir High School. He's also been in the education sector for the last 15 years. Abdulaziz, welcome to the show too. So we get directly into the topic as well. We have a lot of issues to discuss. So I'll start on my right, Mr. Ruben Ongeda. We know that this issue of youth radicalization has been in the public domain for a while, and people have been talking about it. And so can you tell us what your office is doing about it and how you're tackling these measures?
Very much. Thank you, panelists. As you said, my name is Ruben Ongeda. I'm from the Office of the County Commissioner, Assistant County Commissioner. Now, I think it's true, and it's not a theory that radicalization is something that is affecting not only Wajir but the county in general. But in Wajir specifically, the Office of the County Commissioner and especially the government has made a lot of steps to ensure that radicalization is reduced in Wajir. I think one of the steps that we have taken is a series of sensitization. From 2015, we've been having series of workshops. Most of them have been conducted at Wajir Palace Hotel, where we have been involving all stakeholders, including youth, women, peace elders, we have religious leaders, and also community leaders, which are basically the chiefs. These workshops, we have done almost 8 of them, where we are targeting this group so that they become part of fighting radicalization in Nigeria. And I think that has really made it possible for the community to reduce the menace of radicalization. Other than sensitization, we have also come up with what we call CVE programming. That is counter-violent extremism programming. And under CVE programming, we have gone through a series of stages. We started by having a strategy, which is basically Wajir specific. Right now we are talking of not just strategy, but now we are talking of county action plan. Which I think last week we had a workshop at Rah Palace, and we had several stakeholders who are putting their input on this county action plan, because we have gone beyond now the issue of sensitization. Everybody knows. Now we want to have an action plan where now we can counter extremism with specifics.
So do these workshops that you are currently doing, do you actually, call in a representative from the youth who are youth leaders at the community level? Do they take part in these workshops?
They take part. In fact, that's why I said we've been involving all stakeholders. We've been having youth. In fact, every time we are doing that workshop, we have a 4-day program where there is a day that we have just meant for youth. There is a day we give women. There is a day we give religious leaders. And then there is a day in which we give peace elders.
Okay.
So that all of them bring their input on this. So we've never left youth behind because we know they are the vulnerable in the community.
Okay, I'll now take it to Adan Noor. Adan,
Can I just add one thing?
Yeah, you can add.
I think there are two things which I feel the government has done which I cannot leave this place without saying.
You can add.
Yeah, one of them, we have also what we call the anti-terror unit. That's one of units in the government. And they have been doing a lot of scrutiny, especially on the teachers who are teaching on duxis and madrasas. Yes, and sometimes they even go as far as even getting the particular people who they believe or who are believed that they might be giving a wrong doctrine. So we are scrutinizing, they are scrutinizing them so that they also know what they are giving the learners meant for them, or are there any messages that would maybe put the learners into, make them radicalized. So I think that one is also something that we are working on. But again, in terms of the SUPKEM and SIAPEC, we are also working with them very, very closely so that they also check on the religious contents that are relayed, because there is some kind of relationship between the doctrines.
Okay, if I can ask another question on that, when you are scrutinizing these teachers of the duxis and madrasas, sometimes it happens that these people are targeted wrongly on sometimes unconfirmed reports. They are harassed or they start suffering, and that one can even bring more problems. Even it can increase the radicalization level. So what do you do to ensure that you don't even do worse and make sure you improve the whole factor?
Thank you very much for that question. The government setup has all the mechanisms in place to verify information. We don't just work on an information that you get as rumors. We have the National Intelligence Service wing of the government, and they are meant to get intelligence and then relay that intelligence to the right to the right agency. So before any action is taken, a lot of intelligence gathering is done. And again with that, we are really working very close with the community. And I would say for a fact that over the years, now we can say that Wajir, the relationship between the security agency and the community has really been broadened. So we work with the community very closely, and they are the people who are giving us this information. When there is there's somebody that they may be suspecting, they take the information to them.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I will now go to Abdul Noor, you are the secretary for the Football Kenya Federation, as well also you're part of the Youth for Peace. Can you tell us what are some of the factors that are ailing the youth and making them to venture into this kind of sects like the Al-Shabab and other sects?
Thank you very much. The question you're asking me is of general. The youths that we have, today, it is never a secret that radicalization is there. But still, I categorize these youth into two. One, they are youth out of school. Maybe they have gone to secondary school and primary level. And there are these youths who are out of school and maybe they have gone to institutions such as universities and colleges. Probably, those who have gone to secondary schools are vulnerable, simply because they have nothing to do. As the saying goes, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So, as Football Kenya Federation have recently partnered with engaged businessman by the name Siad Abdallah, namely known as Siad Patni, who have sponsored football tournaments for the youths within Wajir East. I, the Secretary General FKF, am commanding 32 football clubs in Wajir Town. And then 15 were taken through that tournament. Siat sponsored, and then we had, it was almost running 1 month. That one has helped us to keep them busy in the fields. Because when somebody is on the fields playing, at the end of the day he's tired, he will not do any other thing. He'll just go back and maybe whenever the match is ended. At the end of the day it was competitive because there were prizes to be won. It has a very strong message, which was say no to radicalization, yes to peace. It has a very good theme. This one has helped us in reducing crimes in most of the times. There are these youths who are out of institutions such as universities. A good number of them are qualified to be employed in different institutions. But they feel that employment nowadays is not about, merit. It is just about who you know in the institutions. A good number of them are qualified. When they go and maybe a job is advertised, and a good number of them are applying, immediately a junior who was maybe a certificate is given the opportunity, and then the one who has gone to maybe through the university, who has wasted all his 8 years, his whole form, 12 years in learning, another 4 years in university, will feel that he has no position in the society. And therefore, at the end of the day, he will look for the greener pasture, which is, these guys are nowadays looking for energetic, learned youths who are in institutions. If you can remember what happened in Garissa University, one of the mastermind was from northern Kenya. At the same time, he was a graduate. He was a lawyer by profession. So these kind of things are affecting them. Number two, there is this issuance of national IDs, which is also becoming problems in northern region. A good number of them that cannot access the national documents, such as the IDs and these kind of things. These and many others are making them to join the terror groups.
Thank you. Now going to Abdulaziz Osman, who is a doctor as well as a renowned religious leader. Abdulaziz, you've been teaching these kids or students while they're at school. Are there instances where you realize even while they're in secondary education, they are a bit radicalized, or does it start as your colleague here has said, after they complete where there are no jobs in the market?
Thank you very much. In my experience in school for the last 16 years, there's no case I have experienced that a student in my school, I taught Sabunli Secondary School from 2002 to 2009. Then I left for further studies, that's master's. I came back to 2011 September to Wajir High School, which is I'm currently in the same institution. So I have never come across to a student that joined such groups, but the fear is there because the youth that have been radicalized is the same one that we are handling. So what we offer them or we tell them is advice during even lessons. I teach IRE, sometimes some topics. When I teach Islamic history, what happens during civil wars between some the back Islamic governments, Islam government, during what happened during Ali and Muawiyah. Some topics have a link with radicalization, like Khawarij, when we take Khawarij. So what we tell them is we give advice that Islam is for peace and it's for knowledge. There's no need for someone to go and join such groups. Apart from that, as a member of the ulamas or religious leaders, we have also a platform in the mosques. We address normally Friday khutbas and other occasions that Islam is against radicalization. Islam is advocating for dialogue. Even when there is a different faith, or different ideology. So Islam always emphasizes dialogue and forbids always radical. So the approach always we have is we advise them or we warn them against to be radical. Yeah.
Thank you. Coming back to you, to Ruben. Some of the what are some of the measures that your office has actually put in place? For instance, there are people who are joining these radicalized groups of people. Can you tell us the figures? Are they rising or they're coming down from some of the reports that you have received at your office?
For now, I cannot be specific on the actual figures. Yes, but one thing I know is that the numbers has gone down because we have been having several cases of returnees. Yes, so when we have those cases of returnees, then we know that the numbers are going down. And again, naturally, we know that the measures that we have put in place has reduced the incidences of radicalization. But again, we are getting returnees, so we believe that the cases of radicalization are going down.
As of the time?
Yes.
Okay. And then how do you have a platform that you work with the other stakeholders, because the youth, women, the religious leaders, political leaders, to try to scale down the number of people who are getting radicalized? You have platforms that you use.
We are using what we call a multi-agency approach. And multi-agency approach means that it is not only the government, but we are also working with other stakeholders, especially community-based organizations and youth groups and NGOs. Yeah, and like here in Wajir, a lot of NGOs have had interest in CVE, or counter-violent extremism and radicalization. So there are several funds, some are funded by USAID to counter this. So we are working with very many organizations. As I said, we have Women for Peace working on the same. We have Wajir Peace and Development Agency working on the same. We have youth groups working on the same. And even right now, even Kenya Red Cross are working on this program. So it's a multi-agency approach. We have many stakeholders. Who
are your target? For instance, the youth. When you say the youth, who do you target? Because sometimes there are a lot of girls who are joining also these sects, not only boys but also girls themselves. So how do you, get into the fact that the girls are also joining, and how do you tackle that problem?
Thank you. I think sometimes we look at a smaller picture. And sometimes when something happens, we focus on maybe a narrow environment. Like people think that it's only the youth, male youth. And my brother said something here, that initially people are thinking that maybe these are people who are talking of unemployment, or people who are illiterate. But now the dynamics, things have changed. We get that some of them are well educated people. So again, as you are saying, we are not just focusing on youth male. When we are talking of youth, we are talking of both male and female. And not only that, we are also targeting even women, because we know that the people who have a big say and a big responsibility in terms of household are women. So we are not just targeting a particular group, but we are looking at it holistically. And that's why I told you, even when we are having these workshops, we take every sector in the community.
Thank you. If you're currently joining us, we are live here at Midpoint Hotel, and we are on the issue of the youth radicalization. If I come back to you, Abdinur, what are some of the programs that you have in place in future? The last time there was a tournament, and probably it might have had the right effect. Now, what are some other programs that Football Kenya Federation as a youth for peace, you guys, what do you have in place to try to, ensure this issue gets into the grassroots and people are aware of it?
Okay, thank you, very good. What is mostly Football Kenya Federation does not have funding. We depend on all wishes. like the one I told you, Siad Patni was helping us on this issue. We have a lot of plans. You know, we have got youths have no borders. We have got youths from Ranga. We have got youths from as far as from Kirinyaga who are with us here. And the kind of community we have today does not accommodate them. For example, there are workshops most of the times done within the areas. And if you see the kind of invitation, a good number of them are not invited. They are in blackout simply because they are not even getting information on this issue of radicalization. For example, the kind of plan we have is that we want to, first of all, venture into volleyball, where there are charges in Wajir town. We need to have that cohesion between people from different faiths, the Muslim community and the Christians, so that they come together in a good platform and discuss these issues at large. It is not only Somali boy or Somali girl or Somali youth who will be radicalized. They are also, the threat is also affecting them. It is a global. The issue of radicalization, the issue of terrorism is global. It does not have clans, neither does it have religion. So we'll have this kind of program. At the end of the day, we'll have these people coming together and share platforms.
Thank you. Coming to you now, Abdulaziz. Once more, as a religious leader, have you had any sittings or conversations among yourselves as the ulama, as the sheikhs, as the religious leaders, to try to talk about what is leading to this and how to, remedy it?
Thank you very much. Of course, in ulamas, we have institutions like SUBCAM, Council of Imams. We sit and discuss these issues. Sometimes when need arise, or when there is, almost, people are busy. For example, I'm a teacher, others are teachers, But when need arise, we meet and discuss. And we don't work alone as ulamas. We work with also security agencies that our colleague is representing. So ulamas are in the front line of fighting the radicalization. They teach madrasas, they teach schools, they are in the mosque. So these are the most affected, as has been said by our brother, or our colleague, the representative of the security, the Duxi teachers. Duxi teachers are the most vulnerable, or that the security eye is, you see. So ulamas, they have that concern, and they always alert. And we had, for your information, I was a member of a SUBCAM, not the current office, like in the former office, that election was held last year. There's a new office, but the former office I was an official member. But the current one, I have, we meet, but I'm not an official member, but occasionally we meet. So ulamas always have programs, and they are concerned because they are affected people.
Cut you short on that one. Coming back to you, as Dr. Abdulaziz has said, the target is always on the Duxi or madrasa teachers, which is something that most of the people are aware of it. So has there been any sitting, or as well as any meeting that your office has had with the ulamas and security to address that situation?
Thank you very much for that question. I think it is not true to say that they are the targets. Yeah, because this is a holistic approach. It may just be by coincidence that maybe we fall within the category that where the victims are vulnerable. Every meeting we have SUBCAM and sheikhs, imams, we have them. Yeah, and we believe that, and sometimes we don't want make it look like if it is some kind of a religion or something. So when we talk to them, we believe that these are the representative of the people. And wherever we have these people, they are telling us that they know what is taking place in the mosques, they know what is taking place in madrasas and in the duxis. So I don't think they are left out or they are the target. But we always have a forum where they are also able to share and tell us. And the last meeting we had, we were having also teachers of madrasas and duxis. I remember our last workshop at Hilton, that was 2 months ago. So we also invite them in all our forums, even the ones that are sponsored by NGOs. They are also a part of those because we want everybody to be on board.
I will cut you short. You have given me a point. So I come to you, Dr. Abdulaziz. One remedy, one solution to stop the radicalization of youth here in Wajir.
Jobless youth are there. So the government or the concerned agencies, the youth should be given opportunity. That is whether it's government employment or even giving them chance or self-employment. That is job creation. That is one remedy. The other one is working hard together, working hard together dialogue, security and the other stakeholders, especially the religious leaders. So I think can yield fruit. Yeah.
Actually, on your office, you must have been doing a lot of things to try to curb this issue. So what? Tell us one big solution, very, very important, that can be brought in to try to halt this radicalization stuff.
It still goes back to the family fabric. For us, we rely so much on the community. Yes, and as you said, it's about the doctrine. It's about the doctrine, it's about the ideology. So our plea is just that let the society embrace doctrine that will not affect another person. Because for security, whether you do what, as long as it is still in the mind as an ideology, you may not stop it. So that's why as we are working with the community and we are talking to the people who own the ideology, and especially the religious leaders, to change the narrative. That's what I would say. So that is, to us, that is the only solution. When the narrative is changed, when the youth is given the right message, how to live in harmony with others, then we know we are going to be good.
Well, thank you. I think we've been watching Coffee with Ahmed show here at Wajir's Midpoint Hotel, and we've been talking about issues to do with radicalization of youth. But now, gentlemen, we're now coming to the end of this talk. It's been a pleasure. We've been, told you in a short time. We really apologize. Sometimes we have a lot of challenges here and there trying to stop things. With the whole crew that have been involved, from the camera guys to the whole team, strategic team. Thank you to Midpoint Hotel too, and thank you to you guys. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.